Hey, this is Mr. Willis. I'm going to show you how to make a shape with the Quick Selection tool. This is a more advanced trick, so make sure you're paying close attention. First thing I'm going to do is just notice that I have a picture open, and that's what we're going to do is use this X-wing to create basically a shape where it'll look kind of like just the outline or a silhouette of the X-wing, but not the entire thing, which is the sort of thing that's going to work better for, say, a logo. It helps when you choose a picture if you find something with a nice solid background like this so that the object you're going to trace stands out more. But you can do this with any picture. You just have to be more careful if there's extra stuff going on in the background. So to choose my Quick Selection tool, it's right over here. And don't confuse it with the Magic Wand tool, which is usually right next to it. The Magic Wand has kind of a starburst at the end of it. The Quick Selection tool has more of this little dotted circle at the end of it. And so I'm going to choose that Quick Selection tool. There are a couple settings up here you might want to check, mainly just right next to where it says brush. I'm going to hit this little drop down arrow. I kind of like the diameter to be pretty small, so right now I've got it at 9. You want something like that, usually something between 10 to 15 at most usually is all the bigger that you want it. The hardness, I like to have it all the way up at 100% for what we're doing here because we want a nice solid outline if we're going to use it for something like a logo. And then I also like to turn the spacing and the angle and the roundness all the way down. So we'll just put all of these at 0. Spacing actually they're going to make you have at least 1%, but keeping it as small as I can I find has it helpful. So if those all look good, I'll hit the arrow up here to close that up. And now's a good time to maybe pause the video and go do that if you haven't done it already. Okay? Alright, welcome back. Now we're ready to actually use the Quick Selection tool. So what I'm going to do here is just go anywhere on my X-wing and click. And you'll see how it selects a little bit of the X-wing, usually based on something that's similar color. If I click more, you see there it's grabbing a bigger section. And the difference between this tool and the Magic Wand is that as I click on new areas, you see how it just adds to the overall selection. These little flashing kind of dotted line here is showing all the area I've selected. And so I can keep clicking on areas of the ship that I haven't grabbed yet, and it's going to add to it. If you're using Magic Wand, every time you click, it's a brand new selection. You lose all the stuff you had before. So this I'm going to just keep going, and the X-wing is a kind of a good example here because it is a bit of a tricky one in that you have some parts that are easy like these, the wings here, but some other parts, sort of like these laser cannons, get really skinny. So you have to be very careful to make sure you just click on those laser cannons and that you get them the whole way. You might decide maybe it's not worth it to get the tiny little bit here, and that's up to you. I'm probably going to just leave that alone for this one so I don't take forever in selecting all of this. Another thing to note is that if you get in too big of a hurry, and let's say I accidentally, like there, I've actually selected this whole black area. I don't think I necessarily want that. You can just go hit undo. Okay, and you see how it's going to back up one step. All the other stuff I've selected is still there though, which is helpful. And so I'll go back to kind of just clicking the main areas here, getting this X-wing all selected out. And you know what? It's still kind of grabbing that area, so I might show a different trick to get rid of that later on. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it there for now. So I think I've got most of it right now, and that's the basics of using the actual Quick Selection tool. Okay, so you can kind of consider that part 1, selecting all of your stuff. Now I need to take this whole area that I've selected and I'm going to actually turn it into a solid shape. So if you haven't done all the selecting yet, pause the video now, go get all of this stuff selected, and then come back to this video. Alright, welcome back. So now, as I said, I'm going to turn this into a shape. What I want to like to do first is my shape is going to be a particular color. So before I do all the messing that I'm going to do with this thing, I go ahead and pick out my color. And so I just click on the little square down here. This is my foreground color. And we're the Falcons, right? GCMS, we do red and black, so I'm going to just get a nice solid red color here, and I'm going to make a red X-wing. I'll click OK when I think I've got a good color there. And so the first step of turning this selection into its own shape is I'm going to go up to the word layer and then click new and then click layer. Okay, so let me do that one more time. Layer, new, layer, new, layer. And then this little box will come up and I'll just click OK. And so you'll see now there's a new layer over here, but it's basically blank. Okay, once you've done this, make sure I should still see these dotted lines. If you've done something to lose all the little dotted selection lines, you need to back up, okay, because we still need those on there. Now the next step is I'm going to go to the word edit, and then I'm going to choose fill selection. Okay, edit, fill selection. And when I click on that, you'll see right here where it says use, it says foreground color. And that's what we want, because that's going to take whatever color I pick down here and fill that whole thing in. So I'll click OK. And you'll see, there we go, I have this red X-Wing. And you can see I didn't quite do a perfect job. You know, I kind of left some stuff there. But if at this point, if I were to get rid of my background layer, make it invisible, you'll see, you can really see this is what my X-Wing is currently looking like. Now there's some other tricks with like paintbrush and eraser and stuff that I could use to get rid of little bits, and those will be in other videos, but that's the basics of how we use this quick selection tool to create our own very unique shapes. Enjoy.